Hello and welcome to Arsenal Domination, where firstly, thank you ever so much to everyone that supported the channel, well, ever, but mostly in the last day or so by subscribing to the channel. I really, really appreciate everyone's help as I sort of push towards 200 subscribers. I know it's small, but hey, I'm an older chap and I'm still relatively new to this, but thank you ever so much. But anyway, more importantly, let's sort of have a look at the main topic for today, which is Arsenal and outgoings. Arsenal have been focusing on this really for ever since they got Gyökeres over the line. And there's lots of rumours that Zinchenko, Vieira, and Lokonga are close to an exit. How close they are, I think, probably being over exaggerated at this point. But it would be good if Arsenal could ship some of those sort of squad players as quickly as possible. But it is going to be a fine balancing act for Andrea Berta. Arsenal traditionally in the last sort of few years, well, ever really, have not made much money from sales. They still haven't had a £50 million plus sale. I think Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain remains the record sale at just over 38 million, if I remember rightly. I probably should have looked it up. I normally do. So apologies for that. But you can sort of see the issue. And if you look in the last few years since Arteta came, first Edu and then Berta, who, may well make some sales, there have been some sort of factors limiting them. One of those factors in the early days was the squad just wasn't really that good. There wasn't really a lot of sellable assets that Arsenal either wanted to sell, because you didn't want to move on your best players, or that were easy to sell because of the wages. Arsenal basically overpaid for a lot of players, the likes of David Luiz, Steven Lichtsteiner, other players like that. We had them on big wages and they weren't really necessarily getting the output, and therefore there was no sale value because clubs didn't want to take on the wages, and if they did, they didn't want to pay big transfer fees because of those wages. And then that was sort of coupled as well with the fact that Mikel Arteta, when he decides he doesn't want a player, makes it so obvious that he wants to force him out. And this is one of my big criticisms of him, is the fact that it makes it harder to get a sale value because clubs know that player's not wanted, which in turn makes it harder for the director of football to get a good price. Leno probably being the most criminal example of that. Was it 7 million for Leno? Just was unacceptable. Some you can kind of understand why they've been let go, paid out the contract just to get them off the wage bill, or, sold for lesser prices, but not all. So Arsenal will then, with these players, we know that their surplus requirements, the likes of Vieira, Zinchenko, etc., some of them on high wages. Berta is going to have to balance down the need to get rid of them as soon as possible to get in another player and to earn some money for PSR, coupled with trying to drive the best price. And it'll be really interesting to see how he does that. My priority probably is on just moving these players on now, but Arsenal do need to change this reputation for selling cheap. We'll see what Berta does. Speak to you soon.